Parental acceptance and rejection theory is introduced by Rohner in 2007. It is evidence-based theory of socialization and lifespan development. It attempts to predict and explain the pan-cultural causes, consequences, and other correlates of interpersonal acceptance and rejection within the United States and worldwide. It attempts to answer 5 classes of questions divided into 3 sub-theories. These are personality sub-theory, coping sub-theory, and socio-cultural systems sub-theory. Warmth dimension of parenting. Together, parental acceptance and rejection form the warmth dimension of parenting. This is a dimension or continuum on which all humans can be placed because everyone has experienced in childhood more or less love at the hands of major caregivers. The warmth dimension of parenting has to do with the quality of the affectional bond between parents and their children, and with the physical, verbal, and symbolic behaviors parents use to express these feelings. One end of the dimension is marked by parental acceptance, which refers to the warmth, affection, care, comfort, concern, nurturance, support, or simply love that children can experience from their parents and other caregivers. The other end of the dimension is marked by parental rejection, which refers to the absence or significant withdrawal of these feelings and behaviors, and by the presence of a variety of physically and psychologically hurtful behaviors and effects. PARTheory attempts to answer 5 classes of questions which are explained by 3 sub-theories. Personality sub-theory asks 2 general questions. First, is it true, as the sub-theory postulates, that children everywhere, in different socio-cultural systems, racial or ethnic groups, genders, and the like, respond in essentially the same way when they perceive themselves to be accepted or rejected by their parents or other attachment figures? Second, to what degree do the effects of childhood rejection extend into adulthood and old age? PARTheory's personality sub-theory attempts to predict and explain major personality or psychological, especially mental health-related, consequences of perceived interpersonal, especially parental, acceptance and rejection. The sub-theory is driven by the assumption that humans have an enduring, biologically based emotional need for positive response from the people most important to them. The need for positive response includes an emotional wish, desire, or yearning, whether consciously recognized or not, for comfort, support, care, concern, nurturance, and the like. In adulthood, the need becomes more complex and differentiated to include the wish, recognized or unrecognized, for positive regard from people with whom one has an affectional bond of attachment. People who can best satisfy this need are typically parents for infants and children, but include significant others and non-parental attachment figures for adolescents and adults. Additionally, PARTheory's personality sub-theory postulates that when children do not get this need for positive response satisfied, they are predisposed to respond emotionally and behaviorally in specific ways. In particular, individuals who feel rejected are likely, according to the sub-theory, to be anxious and insecure. Parental rejection, as well as rejection by other attachment figures throughout life, is also expected in PARTheory to lead to other personality outcomes as well. These include hostility, aggression, passive aggression, or problems with the management of hostility and aggression, emotional unresponsiveness, immature dependence or defensive independence, impaired self-esteem, impaired self-adequacy, emotional instability, and negative worldview. According to PARTheory, these negative mental representations are often carried forward into new relationships where rejected individuals may find it difficult to trust others emotionally, or where they may become hypervigilant and hypersensitive to any slights or signs of emotional undependability. Coping sub-theory asks one basic question. That is, what gives some children and adults the resilience to emotionally cope more effectively than most with the experiences of childhood rejection? How some rejected individuals appear to be able to withstand the corrosive drizzle of day-to-day rejection without suffering the negative mental health consequences that most rejected individuals do. Nonetheless, it seems clear that in order to understand the coping process, indeed the entire acceptance-rejection process, one must adopt a multivariate, person-in-context perspective. This perspective has 3 elements: self, other, and context. Self-characteristics include the individual's mental representations along with the other internal, biological, and external, personality, characteristics. Other characteristics include the personal and interpersonal characteristics of the rejecting parents and other attachment figures, along with the form, frequency, duration, and severity of rejection. Context characteristics include other significant people in the individual's life, along with social situational characteristics of the person's environment. PARTheory's emphasis on mental activity, including mental representations, leads us to expect that specific social cognitive capabilities allow some children and adults to cope with perceived rejection more effectively than others. These capabilities include a clearly differentiated sense of self, a sense of self-determination, and the capacity to depersonalize. More specifically, coping subtheory expects that the capacity of individuals to cope with rejection is enhanced to the degree that they have a clearly differentiated sense of self. Self-determined individuals believe they can exert at least a modicum of control over what happens to them through their own effort or personal attributes. Other individuals may feel like as though things happen to them because of fate, chance, luck, or powerful others. Individuals with a sense of self-determination have an internal psychological resource for minimizing some of the most damaging consequences of perceived rejection. Personalizing refers to the act of taking it personally, that is, to reflexively or automatically relating life events and interpersonal encounters to oneself, of interpreting events egocentrically in terms of oneself, usually in a negative sense. Individuals who are able to depersonalize, however, have a psychological resource for dealing in a more positive way with interpersonal ambiguities. All three of these social cognitive factors appear to provide psychological shields against the most corrosive effects of perceived rejection. Concept coper in PARTheory's coping subtheory refers to effective copers versus instrumental copers. Effective copers are those people whose emotional and overall mental health is impaired. Sociocultural systems subtheory asks two very different classes of questions. First, why are some parents warm and loving and others cold, aggressive, neglecting/rejecting? Is it true, for example, as PARTheory predicts, that specific psychological, familial, community, and societal factors tend to be reliably associated with specific variations in parental acceptance-rejection? Second, in what way is the total fabric of society as well as the behavior and beliefs of individuals within society affected by the fact that most parents in that society tend to either accept or reject their children? For example, is it true, as PARTheory predicts, that a people's religious beliefs, artistic preferences, and other expressive beliefs and behaviors tend to be universally associated with their childhood experiences of parental love and love withdrawal? PARTheory's sociocultural systems model provides a way of thinking about the antecedents, consequence, and other correlates of parental acceptance-rejection within individuals and total societies. It shows, for example, that the likelihood of parents, element 3 in the model, displaying any given form of behavior, for example, acceptance or rejection, is shaped in important ways by the maintenance systems of that society, including such social institutions as family structure, household organization, economic organization, political organization, system of defense, and other institutions that bear directly on the survival of a culturally organized population within its natural environment, element 1 in the model. The model also shows that parents accepting, rejecting, and other behaviors impact directly on children's personality development and behavior, as postulated in personality subtheory. The double-headed arrow in the model, designed to show an interaction between elements, suggests that personal characteristics of children such as their temperament and behavioral dispositions shape to a significant extent the form and quality of parents' behavior toward them. Arrows in the model also reveal that, in addition to family experiences, youths have a wide variety of often influential experiences, element 5, intervening developmental experiences, in the context of the natural environment in which they live, the maintenance systems of their society, peers, and adults in the society, element 6, and the institutionalized expressive systems of their society. Element 7. Institutionalized expressive systems and behaviors refer to the religious traditions and behaviors of a people, to their artistic traditions and preferences, to their musical and folkloric traditions and preferences, and to other such symbolic, mostly non-utilitarian, and non-survival related beliefs and behaviors. They are called expressive in PARTheory because they are believed to express or reflect people's internal, psychological states, at least initially when the expressive systems were first created. Thus, expressive systems are believed in PARTheory to be symbolic creations, formed over time by multiple individuals within a society. As the people change, the expressive systems and behaviors also tend to change, though sometimes slowly and grudgingly. It is important to note here, according to sociocultural systems subtheory, that even though expressive systems are ultimately human creations, once created and incorporated into the sociocultural system, they tend to act back on individuals, shaping their future beliefs and behaviors. PARTheory's sociocultural systems subtheory attempts to predict and explain worldwide causes of parental acceptance and rejection. Evidence suggests that the recreational and occupational choices adults make may be associated with childhood experiences of acceptance and rejection. Specific factors do appear to be reliably associated with societal and intrasocietal variations in parental rejection. For example, single parents, most often mothers, in social isolation without social and emotional supports, especially if the parents are young and economically deprived, appear universally to be at greatest risk for withdrawing love and affection from their children. The experience of parental acceptance, or rejection, tends to be associated with the form of psychological adjustment, or maladjustment, postulated in personality subtheory. In addition to issues of psychological adjustment described in personality subtheory and in the acceptance-rejection syndrome, evidence also strongly implicates at least 3 other mental health issues as likely universal correlates of perceived parental rejection. These issues are: 1. Depression and depressed affect, 2. Behavior problems, including conduct disorders, externalizing behaviors, and delinquency, and 3. Substance, drug and alcohol abuse. Rohner and Brittner, 2002. Parental rejection is causally connected with both drug abuse and alcohol abuse. Parental rejection also appears to be a major predictor of almost all forms of behavior problems, including conduct disorders, externalizing behavior, and delinquency. Number of longitudinal studies show that perceived parental rejection in childhood tends to precede the development of depressive symptoms in adolescence and adulthood. So that's all about parental acceptance and rejection theory. Hope you liked this lecture. Stay tuned for more lectures. Thank you.